Hey everyone, this is a quick tutorial on how to use JSON. It's for anyone who's interested in learning, beginners or even people who need to get a leg up on their JSON and JavaScript skills. Hopefully this video will turn out okay. This is probably my fourth time, I'm not kidding, fourth time trying to record this entire tutorial, and every single one has been about, I don't know, 5 minutes, and my video recording software on the system cuts out after 2 gigs, and I had no idea. So I'm trying to lower the frame rate. Hopefully I can get everything in. So without further ado, let's jump over to JSON. Well, what is JSON? JSON is a mix of, oops, that's JSON lit. I'll get back to that in a second. JSON is basically no different from any other JavaScript. You're using objects and arrays with key and value pairs. It's very, very easy to read as long as it's not compressed or minified. These images can be a little confusing for anyone who is not aware of how objects and arrays actually are put together, but once I start getting into it, this will hopefully make sense to you. So let's go ahead and run over to our JSON file. I have created 2 files here. I have an index file in basic HTML5 layout here, and I've also included the jQuery 1.7.1 library, since that's what we're going to be using to get our data from the JSON file and create a JSON file. You can name it whatever you want. I've made one called list.json. Let's get into it. So, where to begin? JSON is just a collection of arrays and objects, and we create an object by using the squiggly brackets. Okay, once we have our object, we'll go ahead and add in a key and a value. So we're going to put in something such as name, and oops, not comma, colon, name. So that's the key, and the value of the name is going to be Peter. Let's do another one called age. This is an integer, so I can just add the number, and we'll finish off with, I don't know, hair color. So, and we'll say his hair color is blonde. Okay, make sure that you have commas after each one of the lines except the last one, otherwise you will get errors. Speaking of errors, it's very wise to use the JSON lint tool. You can go to the website, jsonlint.com, just paste in your JSON and click validate, and it will say whether it's valid or not. This can save you a lot of heartache and time. So getting back into the jQuery, let's run over to our file. Now that we've already included jQuery, let's create a new script tag, and inside here we're going to now pull in the data from this file into our index file. So how do we do that? Well, there's many different ways that jQuery gives you Ajax, they have the getJSON, they have numerous functions that basically do the same thing but in different means. I love to use the getJSON. It includes the Ajax calls. So let's go ahead and just do that. Let's go ahead and make a getJSON function here, and the first argument is going to be the name of the file. So this is list.json. It's in the same folder, so I don't need to escape any other folders. And then we're going to go ahead and type in function data. This is the return data. So this data will be returned to us, and now we can actually manipulate that. So let's go to the file, and let's say I would like to obtain the name of Peter. So I have to pass, I basically say this data, like I said, this data is this object. It is all of the data in this JSON file, but in this means that we only have one object, so I can do data dot, and then I can do name, okay, or I could do age, or I can format it this way. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's a lot easier if you're going to be doing something with space in it, such as hair color. I can do hair color. If I was to try to do this with a dot, it's not going to work. Okay, So whatever is going to be straightforward to you, go ahead and use that method. We can't do anything with this obviously, so let's go ahead and put it in our console. I'm going to console this out into Firebug. Oops. Okay, save that. Come over here. We have Peter. So what it's done is it simply opened up this file, grabbed the value of the name, which is Peter, and we have simply echoed that out into the console. Let's go ahead and do age. Let's refresh the page, and we have 30. Next thing, let's say we wanted to iterate over an array of objects. I've already got one made here, so I'll paste this in. We start the array, just like you would with any other array in JavaScript, with the opening and closing brackets, and then your values are inside of that array. So this is the first value, which is an object, and a second value in the array, which is a second object, okay, denoted by these squiggly brackets. And inside each one of these objects, we have a list of information. So now we have a different instance. We have a different situation here. Let's say we had a class of 50 students, and they had all their information in this JSON file. What if you wanted to go through that data and spit it out on the page? Well, it's very easy. We can go ahead and use the built-in each function that jQuery provides, and the first argument is the data itself. So we're passing this data into the function. Okay, what it does is it's going to iterate over that, and we can get the key and the value. Okay, key and the value, which is key value. When you hear key value pair, that's what it means. Quick note, just as a reminder, as of jQuery 1.4, this getJSON function actually it errors silently. So if you have any errors in your JSON, which is why it's so useful to use the JSON website, make sure that you do that, because it does error silently. You will not get any errors in your console, anything to tell you, hey, this is where the error is. If you do have any errors, it's usually going to mean that the actual code itself, the JavaScript code, is not formatted correctly. Okay, so moving on, we have passed this data into the each function. We're going to iterate over each object in the array. Okay, so this is the first object, second object. So we're going to go through and loop through this. How do we do that? Well, we are going to grab the value of the name. So we can do console log value dot name. Just as we did data dot name, we are now using this. Okay, this is the value. We obtain the value of name. Save that, come back to the console. We have Michelle and Peter. I'm sorry I'm being a bit speedy with this. I just want to make sure the video is under my 2 gig limit. We could also add this to the page itself. Let's put a new array in. So we do my array is equal to empty array. Okay, and we're going to push the values into that array. So we can do my array dot push value dot name. You could do whatever you want. You could do age, hair color, classes. This is another array, so you could specify the index of the array that you'd like to obtain. It would be something like classes. You want the first value. Oh, sorry. Well, the first value would be 0. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do the names. So we do dot name. So we're pushing the name into this array, and then we can go ahead and console log the array. Okay, so save that, and we now have an array of 2 items. You could put this in the page. You could make a new div class content div. Okay, and I want to grab div content, change the HTML of that div, and we're going to join the 2 names together as one string. So we don't want to echo. We don't want to basically paste in this array. It would error because it's an object. We can't do anything with that. So what we have to do is we have to turn that into an array. Sorry, we have to turn it into a string. The way we do that is we do join. And join gets all of the elements of the array and it creates them as one. Now it's going to look a little ugly because we haven't separated them out. So there you go, Peter and Michelle. You could make this a little better by, you could put these on their own, in their own paragraphs. Oh, gosh, come on. And so each one of those will now be on their own paragraph and their own line. Okay, hopefully this has been of some help. Sorry that it's so quick and not as in-depth as I'd like it to be, but if you have any questions, leave a comment.